Hi there. Hi there, everyone. It's Alex, your brand ambassador and host for today. Uh, this broadcast is taking place as part of our SEO challenge this year. And so, if we count it, it means that it's the sixth and the last of our broadcast before the ceremonial broadcast that will take place on December 15th, where we will all get to meet the winners to see who got it done, who took the first place, who took the grand prize, which also means that today all of our wonderful participants will get their last bonus assignment that can score them extra 1,000 points. And speaking of our topic today, we will all get into SEO and link building strategies. We should have had Boni, Satani, and Jaydip, Parikh, but Jaydip unfortunately couldn't make it. Some issues which I truly hope resolve in the best way possible. So Boni will be here with us, making the best of it. And afterwards, we will get to ask Boni some questions and get to see our participants' project review. Today, it's going to be azurepower.com. It's a grid scale renewable energy company. So let's now welcome Boni uh, to the stage.
Yep.
Boni, hi there. Nice to see you.
Yep. Hi everyone. Hi Alex, and thank you so much. I guess for you and the entire Serpzilla community for giving me this opportunity to speak and share a few insights with everyone. Thank you so much all for joining me today and listening to me. So uh, I'll
Say
share
a
my
few
screen.
words about yourself to some people who
Yeah.
might not know you, who are new to you.
Yeah. Sure. I had that covered in one of my slides, so I'll let the deck begin, and then part of it I'll talk about myself. Yep.
So let's get to the presentation then.
Sure. Yeah. So, as you guys already know, there are two speakers, me and Jaydip. Unfortunately, Jaydip couldn't join. Uh, so my topic is mostly going to be around link building. But after the presentation, you can still ask questions around SEO as well if you have anything in mind. Uh, while I was preparing the presentation, like the topic around like link building strategies, I was thinking that there are a lot of link building strategies in general that I can talk about, but I thought that instead of talking about all the different strategies, I just want to talk to you about one powerful and amazing timeless strategy, which, if I go in detail, I can help you actually learn it the best way, and so that maybe after this session or maybe from tomorrow you can go and start implementing it. So in this entire presentation, we are going to talk about one strategy, but we'll be going into the detail, and hopefully it will help you, get started with that activity. And if you master it, the results are going to be amazing for you. Yeah. So the topic is like how to earn high authority links. A bit about me. So I'm the co-founder at Start Technologies. We are basically a full-service e-commerce agency. I call myself a T-shaped marketer. So I'm someone who has a huge understanding and focus around SEO and link building, but also a good understanding on the various facets of digital marketing, like email marketing, uh, paid advertisements, and other channels. So that's why I call myself a T-shaped marketer. I have hacked the knowledge graph. So if you search my name in Google, Boni Satani, you would find a knowledge panel about me. I have been recognized as a top digital PR and link building expert by Digital Olympias and a few other platforms. Overall, we have helped our clients, featured on known platforms like MSN, Yahoo, Business Insider, OpenSource.com, and a few more. So, what's the agenda for this specific talk? So, I have divided into like five elements. First, I'm going to talk to you about the results that you can get from this specific link building activity. The next is, we're going to talk about what's that activity. The third would be how to get started. Fourth, most important, like how to measure the performance of, this activity. And fifth, the most important, is setting the right expectations so that if you start working on it, what's the right result output you can expect, right? Let's get started with the first part, which is the results and examples of links earned. So this is an example of a link earned from Business Insider. It's a known site. I don't have to talk about even the DR and traffic, but yeah, it's a 41 million traffic site, and it's a do follow link, and it's a contextual link where they are actually quoting one of our clients in their article. It's a free link. This is an Hero query, which we are going to talk about a bit, but this was a question which was asked by a journalist, and this was the exact answer given to that journalist, which rendered this particular link. This is another example. It's a website, Best Life Online. Again, a website with 1.8 million traffic. Again, a do follow backlink, a free link, and where you are quoted as an expert. This was the query from a journalist, and this was the response from the like we did this to journalists. So now the reason I'm giving you this actual screenshots is to drive a point for you that this is not like a secret thing. Like this is exactly what we did, and this was the result. The article on Best Life Online was syndicated on Yahoo, so we got a free link from Yahoo by default. This is another example on CMS Wire. This is for our own website. So, again, CMS Wire has a traffic of 53,000, and, we got this particular link for free. This was the query from journalist, and this was the, pitch that we responded to that particular query, which landed us this particular backlink. Overall, we have earned links from these platforms through this one single activity. So I hope this picks up your interest, and let's get started with the second part of the session, which is what is Hero. So the activity that I'm talking about is nothing but Hero. Hero is a platform, and the acronym is Help a Reporter Out. So it's basically a platform where the journalist and the source like us, they come onto the same platform. Journalists use a platform like Hero to get expert quotes from people like us. So one of the challenges of journalists is that they are not always a subject matter expert. So when they're writing an article on an area which they don't have a huge understanding, they would come to a platform like this and they would seek an expert quote so that it supports or it makes the article stronger. Also, journalists use a platform like this in a situation where they have an opinion, but they want a supporting expert quote of that opinion so that it makes the article stronger, like backed up by experts sort of thing. So Hero platform, it's a website, helperreporter.com. It's used by journalists who work in outlets like Time, Returns, Mashable, and a few more. So it's amazing platform. How it works, very high level overview. So what happens with the entire flow is like when a journalist signs up and comes onto this particular platform, they will create a query, a question, they will put it up. That question or list of query is going to send to all the experts who signs up as an expert, like a source, will respond to those relevant queries. And if the journalist likes that particular answer, they will add our answer along with the backlink. So this is very high level. Again, we're going to look into much detail, but this is how the whole platform works. What are the benefits? Like why you should consider Hero as a part of your link building strategy? So one of the main reason is that you're getting high quality backlinks and mentions for free. Like There is nothing like paying here for them. You literally get a link just because of your meaningful insight and contribution for the journalist. Second benefit is establishing yourself as a thought leader. So just imagine that you are getting featured on websites like MSN, Business Insider, Yahoo. Automatically, you are perceived as an expert, as a leader. So for your clients, what you're actually doing is you're making them famous. And again, that too for free. So it helps you establish you and your clients as a thought leader. And third, most important, which is most often not used, is that this platform allows you to connect with journalists. And remember, these journalists are writing articles on, this amazing platforms. If you build relationship with them, eventually what would happen is they may come directly to you for future expert quotes. So these are three awesome benefits. Uh, this is a data supporting this whole thing. So we did a study on Haro. So we analyzed like 2,500 Haro queries just to understand what type of queries come up, like what type of websites are there, and what's the traffic of those websites. So 89% of the queries which are published, they have a DR of 50 and more. So by default, like if you give an answer, if that gets published, there is a high chance, like 90% of the time, it's always like a DR 50 and more backlink. Similarly, if you give an answer and if it gets published, 87% of the time that link will be from a website which has a traffic of 1,000 plus. And if you look at the last bar, which is 282 queries, so 50% of the time it will be from a website which is traffic of 10,000 and more, which is amazing. So that's that's the real data, and that's the type of queries and the websites that use this particular platform. So if you work on it, if you use this platform the right way, there is a good chance that you are going to end up building a high quality backlink. So now, since we talked about the benefits and why you should focus on this, let's get started with how to get started with the Hero platform. There are three steps on a very high level on getting started with Hero. The first is straightforward, like sign up for Hero. So if you go to Hero website right now, you'll find these two CTAs. One is a journalist and one is a source. Uh, we are not a journalist, we are a source. So we'll click on source. So what is a source? Source is someone who is going to respond to the journalist. So we're going to click on source. When you click on source, you will have this particular form. So you got to fill up this particular form. It's a straightforward details, like nothing fancy about this form. But whatever the details you find relevant, you fill it up, sign up. Once you sign up, they'll send a verification email. You verify your email address, and then once that's verified, they will take you this to a page where you'll find this option, Hero preference. So this is important. I'll spend a few seconds here. So what this tells you is that if you're working on a specific niche or a client which is in a specific industry, let's say only business and finance, then you might want to click on business and finance. So this is basically a option for you to filter down the type of queries that you want to receive. So if you're working in-house for a client which is into finance industry or business, you might want to just select business and finance. But if you're someone who is working in an agency where you get different types of clients, there's like nothing like a niche focus, then you might want to select Master Hero. Master Hero is something where you'll receive the queries of all the industries, no filtration. So it's up to you to review all those queries and find the most relevant ones. By default, you have to recommend starting with Master Hero, and then once you understand the platform, and you can then narrow it down. The second step, so that was the first step. The second step is now monitoring the query. So once you sign up for Hero, the next day you'll start receiving 3 emails every day, Monday to Friday, no emails on weekend. And those emails are received 3 times, in one single day. For an Indian time, so for an Indian time, it would be like when you'll start working on it, then by default you'll already have two emails to review in the morning, and then one email you'll receive it somewhere in the afternoon. So uh, for us, it will be something like when we start our day, you'll already have two hero queries emails from just yesterday night, and one new fresh email you'll get in the afternoon or something. uh, what does it look like? So this is the subject lines of this. So this is very specific. This is exactly how it looks like. So you'll have like Monday evening edition, Monday afternoon edition, Monday morning edition. So it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is exactly how they send it. And when you open it, this is how it looks like. So precisely, you'll see that general is one category. So if you scroll down a bit again in that particular email, you'll find different categories of these queries. And this is a sample query, exact query, which is from a journalist. So let's now talk a bit into this example query. So this is a query where the question is like how to protect against ransomware. What's your top tip? The journalist's name is Angela, and it seems that the publication is Digital Guardian. There is a deadline to this particular query, which is 7 p.m. EST 13 March. And there's more details here, like the journalist is looking for a cyber security expert and like to answer like how to protect against ransomware. And then there is a much more detail like to participate, please respond with your full answer. uh, Overly self-promotional answers will be ignored, please be reasonable. And then a link to your website. And so this is their requirement, and this is what they are communicating. This is exactly what I need, and that's how you respond to them. So the email mentioned here is very important. So let's say one of your client is into cybersecurity space, then either you on behalf of your client, so you talk to the client and prepare a draft, and then on behalf of the client you can send an email to this particular or respond to this particular query. Where to send this response? You need to send the response to this email, which is the query at the rate query-6c060 at helpreporter.net. This is exactly where you respond to them. It's normal, like you open a Gmail, you enter this particular email address, you prepare your pitch, and you send it. That's it, just like sending an email. So this is the example query. So it's all the elements of the query is very important. So whenever you are looking at the hero queries, just understand like what's the deadline, what's the email address, and what exactly the journalist is looking forward to. So now, when you receive hero emails, like it will be a lot of emails, 3 emails a day. So a lot of queries to review. So just ensure that when you're looking at the emails, you just look for the relevant queries. So it's very important that you choose the queries where you can certainly contribute and add value, and ignore the ones that you don't think that you can add value. So the step 3, let's say you identified one query which you think it's relevant for you. So now it's time to write the perfect answer. So what are the top 3 suggestions? Like what things you can keep in mind while responding? And again, it's not fancy, like it's pretty straightforward. I just showed you an example of those responses in the first part. So it's nothing fancy, it's straightforward. The first simple tip is get to the point. We all have this whole habit of talking a lot about ourselves or few things in general. So don't do that in the pitch. Be straight. If the journalist has asked question on the tips on how to protect against ransomware, go straight into the tips. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The reason is that journalists are receiving on an average 100 responses minimum for each of these queries. So if you don't directly get into those points, they will immediately move on to the next pitch because they don't have time to look at all the pitch. They'll just scheme the emails or the pitches, which one is directly, if they get those insights that they're looking for, they'll just pick it up and then just move on, something like that. So that's why it's very important that you be directly go into the tips or the straight to the point. Second, make it unique and share personal experiences. So when you're writing a query, make it something like based on your own experiences and understanding. So if your client is writing on behalf of you, who by themselves would be a subject matter expert, then just let them know that if they can write something based on their personal experiences or something, so that that makes your pitch unique. Having said that, if that's not possible, I mean, that's not possible all the time, so it's fine. If you still have a strong pitch, a good tip, you can still respond to that. It's good to have this second point, but if it's not, it's still okay. What is the answer you think is best? You just go ahead and respond to that with that particular answer. And the third thing is avoiding simple mistake. Do not make any grammatical mistakes, like just ensure that it's good grammatically. Do not respond after the deadline is passed. So usually the deadlines are a day or two. So it's not like you get a query today and you can respond after a week. Only a handful of queries have a deadlines of like 7 days, but most of them have a deadline of like 2 days or something max. So that's the catch in that. Do not add any attachments. Journalists are not going to open any of those things. So whatever it is, just put it into the page. And fourth will be, do not copy paste. Like if they are asking for tips, it should not be like you collect those tips from some articles online and put it together. It could be for an inspiration, but it still have to have some uniqueness from your end before you respond. And here's an example pitch, that we use internally as well. Pretty straightforward. If you see, the subject line is like query name. So query name is basically the one that you see here. So this is the query name, like how to protect against ransomware. So we use this. Or if it's an actionable tip that you want to highlight in your subject line, you can do that to attract the attention of journalists. The draft is like, hi, the name, and then please find below the pitch for this particular query, and these are the tips, and that's it. Depending on the information the journalist has asked you, like you can mention name, designation, website URL, social media URL. One more thing you can do is, if your client is or yourself uh, has a good reputation online already, like if they have been mentioned on a few platforms, or if they have a good traffic or had something that you can also talk about, then you can have one starting line that, hey, my name is Boni, and I have been speaker at so it's a location, and hence I am a subject matter expert on this, just to drive a point to a journalist that, hey, this guy is responding to this query, he knows his activity. So you can add those and do that improvisation, but for most part, this is how straightforward it should be. So yeah, that's how sign up for Haro. You start receiving the queries, monitor those queries, find a relevant query, and then pitch. That's it. That's how you do it every day with Haro. The fourth section is reporting and tracking. So this is the most often missed part by a lot of people who do Haro. So people who do Haro, they respond to it, but they don't precisely track it, the performance of those things, which is I mean, pretty interesting and amusing for me, like why we don't do that. But this is exactly what we do internally. I have shared this tracking template, so you can download it from the bit.ly link that's given in the slide. So I'll walk you through this whole template. It's extensive. So the first is the date of the query, like the date of the query that you received. The next is what's the outlet name. The next is the DR of that outlet. Then what's the deadline? What was the question? What was your response to that? So internally, what we do is that we have someone who is dedicatedly working on Haro. So he or she responds to those and prepares a draft for those whole queries. If client wants to review that particular query, we send it to them before sending it. Or if we have a pre-approval from client, we just send it directly to the journalist. But everything is done in document first. So there will be a single document for each of these responses, so that you can review it in the future and understand why it was rejected or published. Who has written this particular query? So name of the people, the status. So by default, Haro links take anywhere between 1 month to 2 months to go live. So uh, usually if the links are accepted, like if they like their answer, they will respond to you and say that, hey, no, we liked your answer and I'm going to be including this in our upcoming article. But like that's like 20% of the time, but 80% of the time they usually don't tell anything. Like you don't get to know if they have accepted your answer, if they have rejected your answer. So what we do is that after like 1.5 months, we go on to this particular publication, we look for an article like this, and we see if they have included our answer within that or not. So if they have included the other people's answer but not us, then we'll mention it's, the pitch was rejected, they didn't like it. And if they have included our pitch, then it's like published. There are also cases where you'll find that the article is published, but it does not include any of the expert codes tips. So something like it's written here like article live without expert roundup. So article was just an article. There was no quotes from any of the experts. So that also happens. Also, there's one more scenario like article never goes live. So you responded to a pitch, but even after 1.5 months or 2 months, that article still hasn't gone live. So that is still sitting in draft for the journalist. So it gives you an understanding of what happened with your pitch. So that's why the tracking template is very important. And this is an overview tracking again from the same document. So this is like every month on month that we track. So let's say in the Jan month, we pitched 40 queries. 7 of them got approved. 14 of them never went live. So it is still in draft with the journalist, which is very interesting. And 12 of them got rejected, and then 7 of them went live, but none of them had any expert codes. So your focus, so you'll get an idea like what happens actually. It's not always like it's not like binary, like it's approved or not approved. It's always like more in line. It's a gray area. So one aspect of like your pitch gets accepted, so you get to see it. Another is like your pitch gets rejected, so you get to know from here. But the gray area is this, like it never goes live. So that also needs to be attributed. And also if it goes live, but it doesn't have any expert code. So if you start tracking this, you will be able to improvise and understand what's happening with your hero activity. Uh, how to improve on this part? So if you find that, okay, a lot of your queries are getting rejected, you go over to those rejected articles and try to understand what did the journalist selected versus your pitch. So that gives you an idea of improvisation. So yeah. Now the final part, which is setting the right expectation. So a lot of you may have this question that this seems to be interesting, this is great, but what's the expectation? Like what can we expect in terms of the results by working on this thing? So in our experience, the average or the approx conversion rate that you can expect is between 10% to 20%. So let's say if you're doing 10 pitches, you can expect anywhere between 1 or 2 live pitches, right? So that's the conversion rate. You need to aim for consistency. This is a long-term thing. Remember, this is a skill. It's not an activity that's going anywhere. This is going to be there. It was there like 5 years back, 10 years back. A lot of people just didn't knew it, right? And this is going to be stay there because the problem of journalists isn't going anywhere. They still need experts whenever they write an article. So it's not going anywhere. So aim for consistency, work on it for 3 months before you take a call like this is not working for me. So keep doing it even if you don't get links, because by default you get an understanding after 1 month. So you gotta keep doing it and measure the performance with the sheet that I have provided to you. And the last most important, review the rejected pitches and improvise from there onwards. Resources. So we have been very big on Hero. Like we have our own study that we did in PAC. So where we analyzed 2,500 Hero queries. So you can find it on this particular link. As well as we have, what is Hero, which is how to get started. And then there is an article on Hero pitch, like things to keep in mind while responding to Hero. There are other platforms as well, like Hero. So those are mentioned in this particular article, Hero alternatives. So it's similar to Hero, but a bit different. But yeah, if you guys are already using Hero, but don't know the other platforms which gives you the same opportunity, then you can explore that article. We also like the article of BuzzStream on Hero and also the Hrefs article on Hero. So I hope like this resources helps you get started with this and helps you on links, amazing links for your clients. So yeah, that's it from my presentation. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful. Over to you, Alex.
Well, that was great, quite extensive. And now, what do you have to say about this question? How to contact a journalist by any website or platform use?
Uh, Great question. This is like often a part of a digital PR exercise. So, if you have a content asset that's already sitting there on your website, and or let's say if you've done a DIY study that you want to get covered by a journalist, or you are a startup and want to get featured in one of their magazines, the best thing is that you identify. I would do this. I will prepare a list of 20 journalists that I think are relevant to my product or niche that I can pitch. Then I'll find their email addresses. One of the ways to find email address would be to use a tool like Hunter. That's one as a starting point that you can use. Also, oftentimes you may find their email addresses directly from their websites, or they do also have their own personal sites. That's how you can do. So first, find their email address, approach them, take two follow-ups. Journalists are very busy, so don't shy away from them. Keep the pitch short because they don't have a lot of time. If they don't respond to you on email, again, don't stop. Twitter is an amazing platform for journalists. They are very active there. Just reach out to them, build a connection with them, and try to pitch your idea. So I would go and do something like this. So it's a long term thing. So yeah,
I
do
think
it
it's worth.
nicely. Yeah.
I think it's worth adding. That's something that I had experience with, and from my experience, it's sometimes worth using social media. Uh,
Yeah.
but like Twitter is a bad idea usually, so it
Yeah.
should be something like Facebook or LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's the most appropriate.
So for journalists, they are actually pretty active on Twitter. They like because of the whole news arena for them. They get a huge source of news for them, and there is a specific hashtag that they use to find certain things, which is called journal PR request. So that's where it helps them connect. Yeah, but yeah, certainly other platforms like LinkedIn as well and Facebook, certainly that can be also explored. Yeah.
Well, why don't we switch to a project review right now?
Sure, absolutely. Okay.
So we're going to be reviewing azurepower.com,
Yeah.
a renewable energy company.
So I'll give you all a brief of this particular website, and I hope the person who has submitted this site is also there. And I mean, if they have any questions, they can ask me. So it's a particular very B2B niche website, and again, into a very niche industry. So, uh, like Alex said, they're into like solar power and renewable energies. Like they build solar power projects, and, completely renewable energy projects, mainly for governments. So governments are like one of their clientels, and they basically help convert the existing electricity needs, like the power needs, from non-renewable. They can help completely to the whole renewable energy source. So that's what they do, and that's what they help. And overall, it's a small site. If you see, like the actual pages that you actually see are actually this many number of pages. So the website is well built. It's neat. and it does communicate straight away what a person requires to understand like what they're doing and what's their USP. I really like some of the videos that they have also added on the homepage, like some of this it's a good video summarizing what they do. It's a 5 minute long video, but it communicates a lot of the USPs and why someone should engage with them. Also, the project page, that talks about a lot about like their investments or the projects that they have done, and again it drives a point for someone who is interested. Hey, this company has a lot of experience in this particular space, right? So while I was working on it, I realized that this is again it's a pretty tough nut to crack because it's a niche industry, and on top of that a pretty small site in general. But yeah, let's look at what I have identified. The recommendations that I was able to identify, if a couple of them are something, if being implemented, it can help drive the next level of growth for the company for the year 2022 3 sorry 23. So yeah, let's dive straight into this. So let me zoom in a bit. The first two recommendations are technical SEO related recommendations. These are like these are not going to contribute for growth or anything, but these are like best practices. It is certainly like a good housekeeping sort of a thing as a recommendation. So what we've identified that one of the subdomains, which is investors.azurepower.com, is sitting on an HTTP version. And a lot of these pages are linking to this HTTP link. So we recommend that we migrate this HTTP version of the page to the HTTPS version, so that the entire website is then HTTPS. So since HTTPS by default is a ranking signal, and again, it's not a lot of effort, as we all know. Like it's a work, but it's a straightforward work to migrate the HTTP to HTTPS site. So a low-hanging fruit, which will ensure that we adhere to the policies of Google. So that's the first recommendations that I was able to identify. The second thing was again a very straightforward thing, is that we've identified that there are few 3-zone redirects. So there are pages which are basically linking to a URL that's getting redirected to another URL. And in this case, it was again it was coming back to the source URL. So the source page is azurepower.com/newsroom. It was linking to this particular target page, and then this page is getting redirected to again back to Azure Power Newsroom. So it was like a loop that's been going on inside this particular situation. So what I am assuming is that somehow either these files are deleted or they have been deliberately deleted, and they have then been redirected to this newsroom page. So but they haven't removed those URLs from the pages. So I would suggest that if they are deleted by mistake, just bring them back in so that those URLs and those things are available for people to review. The target URL so that this issue is resolved. The third, which is the most important thing, is that there are no articles on the website. So the website isn't targeting any of the top of the funnel or middle of the funnel articles. So the key field. So one of the main important role of an SEO is to create brand awareness of the website, and they do that by writing a lot about, of course, all the three funnels: top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. But a lot of focus is on the middle of the funnel and the top of the funnel as well, because it helps you establish expertise in the whole ecosystem. So there was a big opportunity that this particular business can look into. uh, I get it that it's very difficult to write or find a content writer who can write a good article. Maybe that's the reason why they may be holding it back. But seriously, like, if if the business is looking forward to having more business, more online presence, then this is like something that they'll have to address at any time, because there's no running away from this. So, like, I just identified like what are different keywords that they can talk about and write about on their own website. And your opportunity size was somewhere around like 1.3 million. So, like, the combined search volume of all of these keywords is like 1.3 million per year searches. So that's a huge opportunity that somebody can target. I'm not saying that this is the what the traffic they will end up getting it, but the opportunity size is huge, and this is going to bring them a lot of bottom of the funnel, maybe middle of the funnel people, and the top of the funnel people. So that's what SEO does, right? That brings people from all around, and then you can actually then do remarketing campaigns to target some of these people and convert them into leads. So that's something which is missing, and this would be like my one of the top recommendations for them to go and implement. Another main missing thing that I found was that they don't have a lot of commercial pages. So if you go to the website again, they have a home page, and they're using this homepage to target a few sets of keywords like solar power, renewable energy solutions company in India and USA. Then there is this page on utility scale solar projects. So that's one. And then there is another which is energy transition, which is again the third page. That's it. They just have like three pages, commercial pages, from where they're trying to attract the people. So I looked up some of the competitors. I looked up the keywords, the area, and identified that okay, straight away there are pages that they could create, and they can start ranking better in Google. So one of the page specifically would be a green energy solutions page, where they just talk about this particular keyword. Then another would be solar energy solutions page. It has a monthly search volume of 200. So these are commercial pages. You don't expect them to have a high search volume, but these are high intent converting pages and keywords. Then third would be renewable energy solutions, and then the fourth would be wind energy solutions. Right. So uh, these are just examples of keywords and pages that they can target. And if you think that all of these keywords may have the same search intent, then that's not the case. So uh, as of now, all of these keywords are being targeted through this homepage, and that's where they are ranking well. And I had a confusion. I was thinking that, hey, what's the SERP intent or the keyword intent for all of these features? Is it the same or it's different? And I identified that it's different. So this is a screenshot from a tool called Keyword Insights. They recently launched this amazing feature, which is SERP similarity, and it basically tells you if the URLs which are ranking on, let's say, the keyword one, which is solar energy solutions, and if the website are ranking on this keyword, do they have any similarities? Like, are the same pages ranking or not? And the answer was no. I mean, there was zero similarity scope. And hence, it drives the point that, hey, you got to make a page because, excuse me, you got to make a page so that you can target each of these individual keywords to rank well. So, these two recommendations combined can, drive a good traffic for them. Another area of opportunity, which as of now it's been blocked, is the project pages. Let me show you. So they have this page where they have listed down the project or the work that they have done. So if you look at from the website, you don't find any individual pages, links to open them. But when you do the crawl, you find those individual pages, and that's where I found an opportunity. So as of now, they are only using this one page to target. Let me just have some water. Yeah. So they just have this one page that they are targeting. But when I did the crawl, I was able to identify that there are actually individual pages. So this is one page where basically they have listed all the projects Punjab, different projects that they have done in Punjab. This page is blocked from Google. They're not using this thing, which makes sense that earlier they thought in that why we want to create individual pages. But then I looked at the search volumes of keywords around this, and I and I found that there are actually search search volumes for each of these keyword. I have a bad throat today, so yeah, these of these there are keyword opportunities to target for each of these keywords. So let's suggest creating pages for each of them. Fifth thing is I found a website where we can list ourselves. So this is a page which is specifically about it's a government website, and they have listed companies who are into renewable energies. One of our competitor, Power, is here, so I think we should reach out to them and think about getting listed here. So that's an important recommendations. And and the last is performing the backlink gap analysis. So this is just a format that we use internally. So someone who is working on this particular website, I would recommend them that they do the gap analysis in this particular fashion, and based on they decide if they want to build a backlink on this particular page or not. So I won't go into detail as of now on this, but it's very important that you decide and understand how many backlinks you need to build on a particular page, and then you start working on it. So I see also an opportunity here in terms of deciding the number of pages to build the backlinks and then launching a link building campaign for them. So yeah, Alex, these were the recommendations from my end. Thing we lost Alex.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Alex.
Oh, how about some more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. You consider keywords density.
Fantastic question. And the answer is no. I think that keywords are important. They need to be there in title. They need to be there in your H1s. But density, no. I mean, the search engines have evolved pretty well, so they understand what you're talking about. So just by picking up various entities from the articles, they understand what the article is about. So we can. I mean, we don't. That's why I don't do keyword density analysis or anything. We just take a look at the content and understand if this is going to help a normal people understand what a talk piece is about. If that's the answer is yes, then yes, we'll be okay with that. And does it provide good hints to search engines? If the answer is yes, then we are okay with that. Yeah.
What about this? Pretty simple, I think.
Absolutely. So
I guess it's worth to point at the difference between the effects of free or paid guest posts. If there is.
Frankly speaking, like it's very difficult to get an absolutely free link. So, so if the question is about if you should pay for a link or not, then answer is yes. It's okay to pay for a link because that's how the world is working right now. There's no option because I mean, just imagine a blogger who is running a website. He also needs to get paid, so that's how they are compensating it. The important question is about the kind of website from which you're building the link. So whether that's free or paid, irrespective of that, the website has to be the one that's important. So it has to be relevant. It should not have the footprints as in it should not have mentioned on their website or page that they accept money for giving out the links. uh, they should not mention like they're giving out do follow backlink and stuff like that. So those are footprints. Search engines know that if this websites have mentioned those things, it's easy to pick up for them that this is like a link farm. So if you have a good site that seems to be legit and it's actually focused on creating helpful content, I think that should be okay for us.
Mm, Here's another one. How submission sites are going to benefit for link juice in 2023?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't do any of these things, and I don't think that's helping us anyway. My understanding is that Google is already discounting them. I mean, they have discounted these links long back. So yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, wait a minute. Um, hmm. Let's try this one. What do you recommend for any website
Wow.
that was impacted by core update, due to which it lost all rich snippets?
Yeah, I love this such questions. In fact, I love to analyze the traffic drops. Uh, so one, if it's a core update, it means that like nobody in the world knows what happened to your site. I mean, it could be it could be anything. That's what Google says. But I would actually just excuse me for my sore throat today. But I would
Okay.
start with analyzing very basic, analyzing the pages where the traffic was lost and the keywords were lost. And let's say you're analyzing a page and you're saying, okay, you lost some positions for this particular keyword. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself a question like, do I really deserve to be in the top five or not? That's the legit question that I'm going to ask. If the answer if the answer is no, then you know what to do, right? You know already the answers. Like maybe my content isn't good like the competitors. Maybe I don't have that sufficient number of supporting backlinks. Maybe I need to work on the on page, or maybe the intent of those pages are changed. So uh, uh, overall, if I'm analyzing those things and look at this thing, uh, when you specifically mention that you lost all the rich snippets, I assume you're talking about featured snippets here, because I mean, rich snippets could also mean the ratings and reviews. But certainly, I'll be looking at the SERP itself and trying to understand, like, if my any of those snippets have been replaced by some other competitors, why it could be. And one important note: if the answer to your question is like, do I deserve to be in the top five, top one? If the answer is yes, I would say don't make any change. Just hang in there, because Google makes mistakes. It's not that we make mistakes. Google is also a product. They also do releases, and they also roll back the updates. So if you strongly think that your website has nothing to do with it, just hang in there. Do not make change. Just get the client understand the situation like this happens, and wait for the next core updates. So for core updates, you got to wait for the next core updates to do a reversal. So just hang in there. So we have seen this happen, and fortunately, we have had clients who were able to understand and stick to that whole journey, and they are happy with it. So I would say I would approach it this way.
And the last question.
Yep.
Hmm. Keyword proximity. Does it matter in 2023?
Again, the answer would be for me, no. We don't use it. Again, and the reason is that we all have heard about entities in general. So so let's say if there is an article about uh, SEO tips, then Google knows that an article on SEO tips will have these entities. Like it would mention, doing the on page. It would have this on page element. It would have a word around title tag optimization. It would have something around URL. It would have something around backlinks, and there are a few more, right? So Google now doesn't rely on just the keywords that we add within the article, the same repeated keywords. They know by default that if these entities are there in an article, this article is about SEO tips. So that's how they tune themselves. So that's where you know uh, I think the proximity doesn't matter anymore because they don't just rely on how nearer those particular keywords are. So yeah, look, and I may be wrong. Unfortunately, there is no right and wrong in this whole industry. It's always like you try something, and if it works for it, it's great. If it doesn't, then yeah, maybe this is the case. But this is coming from my understanding of how Google is right now evolving.
We have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Do you feel
Yeah.
you can do it? Okay. So here's, can we get contextual backlink through Hero?
Fantastic question. So the answer is no. Uh, Usually, it will be a backlink on a home page. So that's the shortcoming of Hero. It will always be a backlink for your homepage. Yeah, that's one shortcoming of Hero for the yeah. But just look at Hero is like you need this amazing idea links. You're gonna get it from Hero. That's where Hero comes in.
Mm-hmm. PBNs are good to do it.
Wow, I would say a lot of people in industry that I know, known people, they use PBNs. So there's nothing wrong again with PBNs again. It's just how good your PBN is. So it's a so PBNs are like it's a network sites, but if these sites are legit, if they have the value in themselves, then there's no problem with that. It's like Google doesn't understand if it's a PBN in general. Like they don't understand as such. So if the websites in the networks are in general good, you're safe, you could. But if it's a PBN which is built by a third party, somebody that you don't know, if you don't know how to validate that, then it's a problem for you. Right? So yeah.
How to target 2 general keywords in homepage meta?
So that's an interesting question. I mean, I need more context on this, but if it's like just two sets of keywords, and if they make sense, then I would just add them in meta title. I would have one of them in H1s, and then I would have just the content within that particular homepage, something around those lines. But yeah, I would need an example to elaborate and give a better answer because yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it would be same thing that you already know, just title, headings, and the content itself.
Great, and I think that's all. And this one would be a great question to close our Q&A.
Yeah.
Basic and important tips for someone who's new
Oh, wow.
SEO.
Yeah, I guess the first and foremost important tip. So something that has helped me personally is understanding how Google works. So we all need to understand that Google is a search engine. It is a product. It's a robot. It's not a human being, and because it's a robot, it has a certain way of uh, coming onto the website. So there are three important things in how Google works, and we know this, but we don't know them in detail. So like the first thing is indexing. It's important to understand what is indexing. Then it's important to understand crawling, and then it's important to understand the ranking aspect. So these are like the three pillars of how Google assesses the whole website. So somebody who is starting out in SEO, please have a keen interest in understanding how Google works, like what they do, why they do, and how that happen. Like a bit understanding of those things is going to help you, address a lot of maybe complex certain questions, because you know the basics, you can answer those questions. So one, understand Google. Second, uh, uh, find a mentor or someone who is going to help you understand and answer the questions with the most fundamental answers. So it should not be like, so let's say you're working in an agency or somewhere, and you're doing some work, and then you ask them, they go, why we are doing this? And if you won't get a good fundamental answer to that, then that's maybe something that you should think of. So find someone who give you a good clarity on why we are doing it, what we are doing it, and also try to have an answer for yourself. Like if you do something, does it make sense to you or not? So that's where. And third, you know, have your own website. It doesn't cost a lot. I have personally learned a lot in SEO by my own website, by ranking in my own website. So just imagine, like, I had a website which was getting a daily 5,000 traffic a day without a single backlink. So a lot of people say that, always backlinks are important, but that's not always the case. I have seen that in first hand. So I knew the practical side of actually what's right and what's wrong. So you will learn a lot of things by yourself by actually going and building up a website and trying to rank, because not just SEO, but you also learn setting up Google Analytics, you learn Google Webmaster. You'll know how the backend looks like. You'll know how to edit a content. There's a lot of things that comes up when you have your own website. So just start with that, and then just stay humble. It's a long journey. Stick to SEO. Yeah, yeah. Overall, it's getting very complex nowadays, but yeah, stick to it.
Look, here's another one: how to rank short tail keywords.
Uh, uh, very difficult. I mean, again, without a context is something very difficult. But I would always look at first the intent of that keyword. So I'll give you an example that I like. I also give that example a lot in my uh, within the team. So let's look at two examples or two keywords. One keyword is, how to get rid of pimples. That's one keyword. It is a, let's say, a bigger search word. It's a 40,000 searches per month keyword. And then there is another keyword which is how to get rid of pimples fast. So it has one more word. So in comparison, how to get rid of pimples is a shorter keyword and it has a higher search volume. Now, if somebody is going to ask me like which keyword you're going to choose, I'm going to say I'm going to check and choose how to get rid of pimples fast. And the answer is not that I want to target a long tail keyword. The answer lies in the search intent, the keyword intent. So if you type in right now, how to get rid of pimples, and in the second tab, how to get rid of pimples fast, you will find that 80% of the URLs are same in both the case, irrespective of the keyword that you enter. So, and the intent is actually fast. So even if you write how to get rid of pimples in the Google, it's only going to show you article around fast, which tells you that, if you ever if you ever want to rank for this even keyword, you gotta write an article around fast. So that's how I decide what keyword to target. And then if it's really a short tail keyword, I'll check this first keyword intent, like if it makes sense to target this precise keyword, or is it a better longer keyword that I should target. That's one. I look at then content, compare it with the competitors. If mine is something similar to what the competitors have. And third would be the backlinks. I'll do a backlink gap analysis and trying to understand how many links do I really need to, even stand along with the competitors. And then I'll measure the performance over a period of 3 months or 6 months. So yeah, that's how I would approach it. A key area to dig where There is a huge traffic drop rather than. Yeah. So we just go into GSC and Google Analytics and try to understand precisely what just happened with those, what keywords moved, what pages have decreased, and then precisely entering those keywords in the Google SERP, and trying to understand what just happened, like why we are on, let's say, second page, earlier we were on first page. How does the top 10 results look like? Now there are two things that you can find: either you find insights, or second, you don't find insights. If you don't find insights, and if you think that there's practically nothing much difference, then you compare your content and you compare the backlinks. So maybe there could be like, okay, you may need to add some more backlinks again to get back on the first page, or maybe you need to improve the content. But uh, uh, that's how you do it, and unfortunately, that's a very gray area. You are basically shooting in the dark. Like, this is what you're assuming that's what happened with them. But yeah, I mean, that's the only way that you can think of approaching. There are various aspects to it as well, like entirely on a website level as well. Like, is it technically sound website? Is it problem having crawling or indexing issues? Does it have an EAT or not? So there are a lot of things as well. But on a very foundational level, this is how I would start.
How to write a perfect meta? Do you prefer Serpzilla?
Wow. Unfortunately, meta is always a very big question. Frankly speaking, sometimes I don't even try to write a perfect meta, because there is a very good chance that your meta may also have been rewritten or changed by Google, just like your titles. So I don't give a huge importance to meta. I just ensure that they are there and they have this. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, looking at your SERP gives you a good starting point. But apart from that, if you look at your own homepage and you find it, okay, you have this, let's say it's an e-commerce category page, I've just tried to ensure that the products that I have in my this particular category, I just mention and talk about a bit about them. That's it. So that's how I would approach it. I won't emphasize a lot on meta description. They're good. They're good for CTR, but I think there are a lot of other important things that we can focus on, because it takes a lot of time. I mean, when we talk about the ROI in terms of time investment.
How to increase the EAT of any website? That's quite an
Yeah,
extensive topic, to be honest.
yeah, very extensive. And so one of the things is Hero. So Hero helps you with that. It helps you get links from these amazing websites that puts you across as an expert. So of course, Hero, and similar to Hero, you can think of writing articles on known publications. So the whole idea of EAT is that you come across as an expert, an authoritative and trustful person, and only that can happen if the third party, if other people are talking about you. And so the thing that you got to do is you got to speak at events, you got to write on known publications, get featured, get recognized. That's how it's going to help them. So for a brand, if they're thinking, so one of the key metrics for them would be to increase their brand's own search volume, their own brand name search volume. So if you see that increasing month on month, year on year, that's a good sign, because a lot of people are searching about you. By default, that tells to Google that people are interested in learning more about this particular brand on buying from them. So that's one. How to ensure that you have things in place. So basic necessities. Just ensure that at least you have author bios, and the author bios talks about the expertiseness of the owner of the website, and the content needs to be something that's useful. Like, if you give it to, so this is again what I talk internally, like, what should your content look like? So your content should be actually something like, if you read it, it's going to be helpful to you, and you're going to try and do it by yourself. So it makes you equipped of actually understanding this particular topic without any additional help. It helps you actually go and do it. So if it's that level of content, you have that expertise proven in that particular article. So yeah.
You can also um, look up the recording of our previous um,
Yeah.
broadcast where we discussed EET specifically.
Yeah.
And okay, we have to wrap it up. This is the
Yeah.
last question. How would you consider AI content? I
Yeah.
guess it's mostly related to text and
Yeah.
anchors, maybe.
Yeah. So we have been experimenting with Jasper. So we 6 months back we had an internal discussion. Let's explore how Jasper tool works and is it going to help us with a good content. Unfortunately, the kind of content that actually helps you rank, we could not get it from Jasper. We even tried to connect it with one of the representatives, try to understand what's the best way to use the tool, but the kind of quality that we wanted, we could not. And the reason is that because Jasper is again something that it's crawling the web, and it's by crawling the web they're trying to basically summarize what they have read. So it's, let's say if you ask them to write on what is SEO tips or what are the SEO tips, they're going to go to, like, say 100 articles on SEO tips and they're going to summarize those things, right? So that's how they work. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. One of the things that we use internally, Jasper and AI tools, is that we use it as like a writer's block thing. So, writers, when they write, they get into a situation where they don't know what to write. So for inspiration, it's a fantastic platform. You go in there, you write something like, this is what you need. They give you a list of things. That's a good starting point for writer. They at least have a few things to talk about and write, and it helps them with a few things. So I would say it's like a supplementary tool for a writer, but not a foundational thing if you are into a long-term game and building a high-quality content.
Well, Bonnie, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. It was
yeah,
great. You did a great job
yeah.
today.
It's
So,
like, it's a pleasure.
hope it's not the last time we see each other here at
Yeah,
Serpzilla. And thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much, Alex, and the Serpzilla and the entire community. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. And right now, folks, all of our viewers, glad that you were with us, but we have to wrap it up. And one final reminder for our participants. So, this is going to be the last task that you get to gain some extra points on your way to victory. The deadline will be December 8th. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Just tell a story, leave a detailed and honest review on social media about the competition you're taking part in. You'll get 1,000 extra points, and all the details and verification details, you'll get it in a follow-up letter on email. Well, it was nice to see all you here, to have you here, the viewers, our participants, and yeah, to all of our participants. We'll see you on December 15th. This will be when we'll meet the winners. And good luck to all of you. Bye.